We do here on Skiba News Nation. Please like and subscribe, and also share with others so we can grow the biggest truth-seeking community on the internet. Huge shout out to all of our Patreons out there. If you like bonus content, you want some extra Skiba News Nation stuff, please go to patreon.com/Skiba News Nation.
Welcome to Skiba News Nation, bringing you unfiltered views, news, interviews, discussions, and more. And now, here's your host, Jeremiah Skiba, award-winning musician and son of Rob Skiba.
With the son of the legendary Rob Skiba, Jeremiah Skiba, what's up?
With my great and insightful co-host, Mr. Jake Graham. It's like I don't even want to wake up.
He's on a quest for truth.
Still have an electorate, 70 million plus, that will be voting for a man who said he was going to assassinate for treason the chairman of the Joint Chiefs because he didn't support him on January the 6th, who said just in recent days he was going to execute Liz Cheney with a firing squad, 9 guns pointed and shooting at her face. A man who has said that he was going to shut down CBS because he didn't like how they edited an interview. A man who said he was going to be a dictator from day one. A man who said he was going to terminate the Constitution. A man who said he was going to use the army and he was going to use the National Guard on his political opponents. I literally could go on all day, and yet you talk to Trump voters and they'll go, he didn't say that. Wait, no, I didn't hear him. And then you say, well, here's the quote, and then they'll go, yeah, he didn't mean that. So there's something far more long-lasting than just Donald Trump, the candidate. There is a sort of Russian embrace of disinformation, a radical devaluing of truth over the last 9 to 10 years, and a complete ignorance on civics and what the term Madisonian democracy even means, what checks and balances even means, what judicial review even means, what the rule of law even means. How do we as a nation, even post-Trump, how do we reach those Americans who apparently didn't go to civics class, apparently didn't learn the basics of this Constitution, and have just been overwhelmed with this information over the past 9 years?
I think this is a big, huge part of the story that it's hard to even digest fully at this moment. But you have Elon Musk, who owns Twitter, X, whatever we're calling it these days, X, who is a disinformation propagandist and now could potentially have a direct line to the Oval Office.
This on this set numerous times is that you have a state where you've got a 6-week abortion or a 12-week abortion. I think theirs might be 12 weeks. Yep. But it's a state where women lost their reproductive rights, where there was a very heavy push to get women to focus on not putting in place, re-electing, putting back into the White House the person who was responsible for taking those rights away and restoring them. But that message obviously was not enough to get enough white women to vote for Vice President Harris, a fellow woman. This will be the second opportunity that white women in this country have to change the way that they interact with the patriarchy. And, God bless Shannon Watts, who has tried to have that conversation. But if people aren't receptive to it, and if people vote more, party line or more on race than on gender and on protecting their gender, there's really not much more that you can do but tell people what the risks are and leave it to them to do the right thing.
These Democratic leaders are simpletons. They're servants of the donor class. So they go in there like, oh, donor, give me money, please. And I made an ad. I'm Kamala Harris. I'm full of joy. Okay, well, what did that get you? And they say, oh, Jake, you're too angry. Too angry? What? You think?
There's a shift right, and then there's a shift to Trump, and shifting to Trumpism. And, I'm
This is
looking
PBS.
at
We
lot
pay
of
for
things,
this.
especially especially after David talked about looking at counties and, you know, how Trump is gaining on what he did in 2020. And to me, I'm mystified in some ways, simply because we're talking about a twice
I want my money
4
back.
times indicted, convicted on 34 felony counts, former president. Somewhat, that's one bucket. Then in another bucket, you have all of the things he's been saying on the campaign trail that gets to the decency that the woman was talking about in that last report, and how she wanted to vote for Vice President Harris because she didn't like that Madison Square Garden rally. I am mystified that despite all of that, he's gaining support compared to 2020. And it gets back to something I said earlier at some point, one of the hours ago, that who are we as a country? And we're starting to find out. And from what I'm seeing right now, I'm not sure I like it.
The thing I think is most important to remember is the people who said that he was a Hitler lover weren't Democrats, they were Republicans. People who said that he was a fascist weren't Democrats, they were Republicans who worked for him. And so it's not just these elite Democrats over here, you know, poisoning the well. You had a pretty broad consensus from Chomsky to the Cheneys, you know, that was very, very concerned and remains concerned. And so I think it's not just on us to stop calling names. I think it's up to him to, as Allison said, with deeds show that he's not going to be those things.
Having said that, what percentage is reporting in North Carolina? 76% reporting. You're down by 7. You're in a world of trouble. You're like, yes, it matters which counties, but you're still in a world of trouble. And so much trouble that one of the organizations has already called it. Okay, now let's go to Georgia.
Yeah, by the way, Iowa has been called by CNN at least for Trump.
Iowa called for Trump, so there goes that nonsense. I'm getting revved up here on a significant rant. So, because Kamala Harris is not winning, and the people who thought that Kamala Harris was going to win a landslide.
Conspiracies, forgotten history, and so much more. I'm your host, Jeremiah Skiba. We'll be talking about Trump winning, Owen Benjamin on faith, bomb threats on election day, RFK Jr. says fluoride will be taken out of our water, Elon will be a part of Trump's cabinet, and all new Opas Corner for History's Mysteries, we'll be talking about the dark business of megachurches. Where did they come from? And Volume 4 of Please Excuse My Sense of Humor. Stay awake, not woke, subscribe, and stay tuned. And Trump won, and here's my co-host Jake Grant. Welcome, Jake. How you doing?
Hey, what's up? You know what time it is, Jeremiah. Shout out Bryson Gray. Dropped this track a little while ago. Check out his new music, but you know.
Hey, Donald Trump is your president, and if you like it or not, keep the energy you had with Barack. Cause you know this Trump train don't stop. Tell Beto to please come try to take my block. You wanna impeach him? I guess that's what you do when you can't beat him.
All right. Please don't copyright strike me. Please don't do it, please. Anyways, what's up, Jeremiah? I know you had a blast last night seeing them call that for Donald Trump. And, you know, we've been talking about this election and all this drama for so long. It's interesting the day after, kind of the feeling that you get, you know, realizing that all of that blowing at the wind that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden did was just for nothing, you know. But, you know, all those donor dollars, don't worry, they're not going nowhere. You know, there's a kickback thing that they have, you know, after they exit politics, they're gonna be doing quite all right. So I'm not concerned about their well-being. Let's just put it that way. But hey, man.
Hey, man. You know, something occurred to me right before the show started, and that's I think Trump, he's now a historic figure because he's the first president that's won 3 elections in a row. No, I mean, he won in 2016, he won in 2020, and they stole it, and then he won this year. So.
Yeah. Sorry, my critical thinking. Sorry. My critical thinking mind went straight to, wasn't there like a 4-term president like Roosevelt, or who was that? One of the
Roosevelt went 3 terms, and that's when they decided to do term limits.
That's when they executed him, and then they decided.
No, he died in office.
Oh man. Well, pretty amazing. And we know that today we're going to be covering some news regarding election voter fraud and whatnot. There's a lot of interesting things that are very telling. Apparently the Trump landslide was too much to overcome by shenanigans, but we're going to talk about it today, man. And we got some interesting stories.
Let's get into it.
All right. So, I started off with that Bryson Gray song, Donald Trump is your president. Okay, so here's one that I like to play. Something that was put out recently, a video on the difference between the left and the right. And it's musical as well. I hope you guys enjoy.
Political divide. Neither political extreme is Christian. It's just hostility versus passivity. Blue brainwashes you into being hostile towards biblical Christianity, while red brainwashes you into being passive towards biblical Christianity. And then both sides pretend they're not religious. But if you ask me, they're all religious, brainwashed pagan clones, hypocrites and vipers throwing stones. They say you're in a cult, but they're in one too, with their eyes wide shut, whether red or blue. They lie to you, red and blue. They lie to me, the blind think they can see. You know what's really wild about Christianity?
All right, so I guess we're in a musical mood today. Sorry, guys. I love the the paradigm shift between red and blue, and it's the Hegelian dialectic in a lot of ways. But what we see is that this is the current events, right? That everybody's attention is on. And I wanted to start us off with a little clip from Owen Benjamin before we get into like some interesting things regarding Donald Trump and possible cabinet picks with Elon Musk and as well as RFK Jr. Let's check out this little breakdown of faith. Just because we had that Savannah Ski was that guy. But anyways, here we go.
Openly religious and push anything, but I do have a theology, and it is faith-based. So it's not a fact, but my faith is that God is merciful and fair, okay? And free will has to be given away. It can't be taken. That's a faith, but it's what I've seen a lot of evidence in my life that is true. And so what does that mean? Because I always think God in control. Free will cannot be taken from you. It has to be given. It's like the mythology of the vampire. You have to invite in the vampire. The vampire can't just come in your house. You have to invite it in. People who crave power, who don't possess the qualities that make people want to give them authority, have to trick people into acting like miserable pigs so they can get it by default. So free will cannot be taken, it has to be given. So there's a default judgment, like there's like that in law. And I think that the way the metaphysics of this world work are a lot like our Freemasonic courtroom. That you have the judge, you have the advocate and the accuser and the 12 free men. Hopefully it's men, but whatever. It's why despair, sin, vulgarity, wrath, greed is pushed. Why? The question why is so fascinating. Why? Oh, because they hate white people. Oh, because they just, how dare you? There's a function to it. If you become animalistic, like a pig just wants, just eat, sleep, you lose your ability to make a claim on the authority, and then the default judgment goes to the guy who made you want to be a pig. Okay, so to get power over people that do not want to give you power, what do? You push despair, sin, wrath, greed. How do you do that? First, it's permaculture of the soul, man. It's like, take out your gratitude, take out your faith, take out your hope. Nature abhors a vacuum. So first you have to that's why I don't like affecting anyone's faith. Like when, the whole time in the past when I talk about who did Jesus pray to, or it all seems a little shifty, and I know it's been a lot of fun, but I'm not going to do that now. Because I'd rather have someone have faith, even if I don't understand it, than no faith. All right, so you want faith, gratitude, hope. If you have that, it's hard to penetrate that. So what you do, you put in a field, you get the pigs to eat the roots. They clear the field. They get rid of all the and dig it all up. It's cultivating. And so first, demoralization. Dude, it's as old as time. It's like you get people to think America sucks, women are bitches, God is a fairy tale or a way to get power or tax shelter. The end is near. Everything's corrupt. America, like all that. What that does is it puts you in a state of cultivation. So now you have despair, you don't have hope, and you don't have faith. So then what do you fill it with? Feelings, indulgences. Well, you can't feel the good vibe from a job well done. So here's the feeling of a video game. Here's the feeling of accomplishment here's a porno. Take that and I'll give you the feeling of it. But in the animal world, in the upside down, money is to create prosperity for your family, for those around you, create a sense of deep roots, getting through the winter, all that stuff. It's a crown. It's a responsibility, and that's stressful. And so greed to get you to want to just eat like a pig. That's why I got obese. There was greed there. It was animalism. And so this year has been very good for me. I lost weight. My egos went down. I'm just really seeing the bigger picture when it comes to that animal. And so if you start engaging in these behaviors, you slowly default lose your free will. You don't give it to the grabbler because it's not yours to give. You can't sell your soul. It's not your soul. But the grabbler gets the ability. And so when I'm looking at these games, like for one, if you elect a woman and people are like, yeah, a woman ruling over us who gives BJs and sounds drunk, that's humiliating. That can create despair, all that stuff. So that's possible. But Trump getting it and then having it taken away was something that's so debatable. Like January 6th happened. Trump did instigate it, but he didn't though. And what actually happened? So they stormed the Capitol. It's this big dramatic event, but 99% of people didn't. But they were supportive of it and they were there, and the optics are crazy, but people are like, and a lot of mainstream guys are like, bloodless or bloody, you be the choice. Like they were threatening Nick Fuentes, all these guys. Some of these guys in jail, they were openly like, we're going to take it by force if we have to, this government, but that is an insurrection. Okay. Trump didn't do one though, but damn was he close. And so then you have this debate, and that is just going to lower faith, lower hope, lower production. And the more that drains and that vacuum is open, the more someone else that did not get authority from people, they get the default judgment. That's why I get so frustrated with animal behavior out of people, myself included. The obesity, the wrath, because it's the only way they can win. And so when people say, "So this is confusing. Is it Trump or Kamala?" I'm like, "There's a bigger game at foot."
So, anyways. What is it that we do when we vote? As a group of people, it's a pledge to a figure where we relinquish our free will of choice to their responsibility. And so when we choose leaders and put them in place above us, we are marking our stamp of approval on what they do and say. And that's why when you see the left have this vitriol against Trump and just this hatred towards anybody who could ever dare vote for Trump, you see that they believe that they're doing a service in a moral sense to humanity. And it's crazy. It's to the point where you can plainly see the justification for the left to blatantly cheat in this election. And we're about to cover that here. And it's insane because they believe they're doing a service to God. And the God that they are serving is their own God, because obviously with some of the morals and kind of objective beliefs that the liberal left are pushing on children and whatnot, it's not any God that I've seen, in the Bible. Well, maybe some of them. Take that back. Now, whenever we talk about the election fraud and the shenanigery that we're about to witness in this video, you're going to recognize where people are making this choice to go and vote yesterday, and the people that cheated or tried to cheat were trying to put a candidate forward that they believed was the moral superior option, right? And so it's, of course, the Trump landslide blew it out of the water. So let's look at this breakdown of some of the more blatant. This guy did a really great job. Check it out.
Tracking a wave of disruptions that's shaking the election to its core in Georgia. Bomb threats have shut down multiple polling locations in DeKalb County. Meanwhile, Milwaukee's having to recount 30,000 ballots after breaking machine seals were discovered. But here's what they don't want you to see. While Democrat areas report technical issues, Republican districts are showing record turnout despite every obstacle thrown their way. It's not a coincidence, folks. This is a pattern. And with the stress of watching the election chaos unfold, you need to hear this. Just like these voting machines are breaking down, people get very, very upset when that happens. But apparently in Michigan, people look the other way. And according to, this bomb threat, multiple locations were shut down. You know what they're blaming? They're blaming Russia. They're blaming Russia for the bomb threat. Let's take a look at this local news report.
Millions of votes have already been cast here in Georgia. Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger has been giving updates throughout the day on how the state is progressing.
Fox 5's Denise Dillon joins us now live in Atlanta as people continue to head to the polls. Denise?
Yeah, and the Secretary of State says things seem to be running very, very smoothly. Here at the Secretary of State headquarters, there are a number of other journalists here, both local, national, and even some from other countries. And it really shows how the eyes of the world are on this election and on Georgia. Also here, members of the Democracy Defense Project, including former U.S. Senator Saxby Chambliss and former Atlanta Mayor Shirley Franklin. They're here to observe the Election Day process, and they said what they see is impressive.
Our purpose is try to make sure that every voter in the state of Georgia has a thorough understanding that our election process is safe, it's secure, and your vote is going to count.
We have the checks and balances. We've had an investment in technology. We have bipartisan support for the election processes. And this is to encourage everyone to vote.
And it seems everyone is voting. The Secretary of State says by the time polls close, more than 5 million Georgians will have cast their ballots. We are expecting updates from the Secretary of State throughout the evening, and we will bring you all the information you need to know throughout the night.
Okay, so that's the report from Georgia. Georgia Secretary of State blamed Russia for a polling place bomb threat. He said that all signs pointed to Russian meddling when the anonymous caller signed off, "Das vidanya." Right. Here we go. This is the Secretary of State.
Any places that we've heard about one bomb threat? Have you heard any other verifiable threats at any point places?
We've heard some threats that were of Russian origin, and so I don't know how to describe if that's viable. We are, but in the interest of public safety, you always check that out, and we'll just continue to be very responsive when we hear about stuff like that. We identified the source, and it was from Russia.
Can you elaborate on that? What kind of threats?
As he said, it's a bomb threat.
So,
yeah.
You're confident that the Russians did it?
Yeah, just like we had the DDoS attack on Monday, October 14th, 420,000, pings denial service from Russians. So we added that interface that said, I am a human, I'm not a robot. So they're up to no mischief, it seems, and they don't want us to have a smooth, fair, and accurate election, and everything they can get us to among ourselves, they can count that as a victory. So that tells you they're not our friends. Anyone that thinks they are hasn't been reading the newspapers. Thank you so much.
Hasn't been reading the newspapers. Yeah, do you trust the newspapers anymore? 5 polling locations in DeKalb County, Georgia, shut down after receiving multiple bomb threats. DeKalb County police evacuating, clearing several precincts. FBI Atlanta issuing a warning. Here's more. Multiple bomb threats made in Georgia, specifically at polling places in Fulton County, DeKalb, and Cobb. Threats are especially concerning to the Harris campaign.
Poll closing. As we stand by waiting for the vote to close in Georgia, what's the latest you're hearing from the campaign?
Well, Jake, they are watching very closely what has been happening throughout the day, and it's seemingly increasingly as we get toward that poll closing deadline at the top of the hour, which is that there have been bomb threats being called in to polling places throughout the state of Georgia, Fulton County, DeKalb County, Cobb County, and others. These threats are non-credible. They are not believed to be credible, but they are being investigated, and as a result, some of these polling places maybe temporarily were closed, voters turned away. I was speaking to a senior Democrat down there in Georgia, watching this very carefully, saying they are hoping that voters will come back. Anyone who might have been scared away in those periods of time will come back and will cast their ballots. Some of those also, Jake, are being kept a little bit after the top of the hour. So this is an ongoing situation that they are watching very closely because of where this is happening. This is happening in the parts of the state where the Harris campaign and Democrats need to drive up turnout among Democratic-leaning voters. So when you have polling places that are closed temporarily, that's a problem for them, and they want to make sure that those voters end up coming back, Jake.
Yep. Yeah, who calls it bomb threats? Certainly not Trump supporters. Here we have, throughout the day, monitoring slow ballot counting in Milwaukee. Milwaukee, Wisconsin ballot counts took place in unsecured locations. Excuse me. Now the city had to start counting all over again. Laura Trump tweeting that throughout the day, we've been monitoring slow ballot counting in Milwaukee. Our legal team has learned that the counting took place in unsecured conditions, and the city now has to start over, wildly extending the counting timeline. This is an unacceptable example of incompetent election administration in a key swing state. Voters deserve better, and we are unambiguously calling on Milwaukee officials to do their jobs and count ballots quickly and effectively. Anything less undermines voter confidence. Okay, we also have this. This is Judicial Watch posting this just 4 hours ago. Election observers on the ground in Milwaukee investigating the recount of 30,000 absentee ballots. Let's listen.
Steady stream of people coming through here, and they're expecting this to be potentially one of the highest percentages of voters turnout that they have seen ever, with 95 potentially % of registered voters showing up here at this poll. But I do want to give you some new information that we have just gotten in the city of Milwaukee, which is about 20 miles from where we are. We are in the suburbs here. They are now saying, according to election officials there, they're going to have to rerun about 30,000 absentee ballots through tabulating machines for an abundance of caution, because what they learned is that the doors of one of its tabulating machines were open. It hadn't been closed properly, and they want to make absolutely sure that the machine counted everything properly. So they are rerunning 30,000 ballots. Why that is important is it will mean that there will take a longer time to count those absentee ballots. And if you will remember back in 2020, it was the absentee ballots and waiting for those to be counted, which we heard Donald Trump and the Republicans jump on, saying there's some sort of malfeasance. Officials are saying this is not the case. There was an issue with one of the machines not being closed properly, and they want to make, out of abundance of caution, sure that each and every vote is properly counted. So we may have to wait a steady stream of people coming through here. And
Okay, this is something else very interesting you guys need to be paying very close attention to. Dr. Robert Epstein, 4 hours ago, posting that search results are undeniably being manipulated and biased. These manipulations will sway undecided voters up to 80%. This little example is some of millions that we are recording. This is not just about our election. They're undermining our democracy. Okay, and he's posting a side-by-side search results for Trump and Harris. And you can see on the left, it's all virtually negative headlines. Donald Trump has lost his expletive. Meet the sleeper conservatives who could help fulfill Trump's promise to be a dictator on day one. Harris assails Trump for saying Liz Cheney should have rifles shooting at her. Trump at the Garden, a closing carnival of grievances, misogyny, and racism. Fact check. 6 days of Trump lies about the Hurricane Helene response. Those are all negative search results that are showing up for Trump. On Harris's side, though, Kamala Harris suddenly becomes favorite to win in top election forecast. Meet the conservative women who are keeping their votes for Kamala Harris a secret. Trump sues CBS News over 60 Minutes interview with Harris. Network says suit with Harris. Network says suit is completely without merit. So they're showing all negative headlines on Google when you search for Donald Trump, and of course positive when you search for Kamala. NBC News reports Milwaukee will be recounting the absentee ballots. We just covered that. A California poll worker explaining to Ivory Hecker that I don't have to show an ID, and she doesn't want to see my piece of mail proving my addings down. They'll believe what you wrote.
You're a U.S. citizen. Okay. So what do I need if I'm not registered? I brought this mail. Do I need to prove my address or anything?
No, you'll be filling out an envelope. It will ask you if you're a U.S. citizen and if you are a resident of California and if you are 18 years of age.
So I moved here like 3 months ago. I don't have my California ID.
That's fine. One of the, it will either there's a line for your California driver's license number if you don't have it, and there's another line for the 4 last digits of your social security.
Oh, just do that. Okay, cool.
And then you will sign it, and that will be your signature that the registrar will.
Okay. What else have we got for you lined up in this segment? Okay. Several polling locations in DeKalb County evacuated due to bomb threats. This is the official DeKalb County, Georgia.
Trying to cheat in favor of Kamala, or, even people who are possibly trying to even cheat for Trump. These things are going to start coming to the surface, and we're going to be really able to weed out the people that we're trying to play some games, right? And it's very interesting, some of the promises for a fair and protected election, and then, of course, seeing the ball being dropped in county after county. And, of course, it's probably just like that. You have mom and pop shops that people, their local politicians going and setting up at the library with a voting booth. And, there's always going to be these kind of gaps in the security of elections that can be taken advantage of in certain areas, but it's very interesting. You also have the bomb threats being tacked onto Russia, another Russia statement going around. But check out this picture that my buddy Justin posted, and it's all about some of the things that don't quite add up. Check this out. Justin said, "Just curious, if it was okay to talk about election fraud, or should I wait a couple weeks? I'm just curious how this is statistically possible. A normal curve shows slight increase in votership over each election, but somehow between 2020 and 2024, Democrats lost 15 million voters. Where did they go? Some might say they never existed, and Trump won 2020 by a landslide, but they would have had their accounts terminated and free speech revoked." So this graph here, if you guys can see, is very interesting, showing the 2020 election where Joe Biden got this enormous voter turnout. So much more than any other president in history. He was the most voted for president. And we're seeing that even in this election, there were these shenanigans trying to push the cause over to Kamala's side or whatever. But guys, how interesting is this in hindsight? And let's ask the question, where did these millions of people go? And of course, maybe they were just, resigned from the political game because they're tired of the political people being propped up. But very interesting, very interesting. Okay, so we covered the topic of voter fraud briefly. There's going to be more coming out in the coming days. And of course, we're recording this episode the day after the election. So we are aware that Donald has won, but we're not aware of all the extra things that are going to be coming out. And we're going to cover that in depth next episode. But first of all, I want to show this victory speech that Trump is giving, and he is hinting at a possible cabinet placement of Elon Musk, utilizing his intelligence to possibly get us to Mars, right? So let's go ahead and check out this victory speech and some of the hints Trump's dropping about incorporating Elon Musk. And then we're going to talk about another figure he wants to incorporate in his cabinet, which is RFK. But check this out.
Around and coming down, it looks like it's going to crash into the gantry. And I said, "Oh no!" And I said, "Do me a favor, do you mind holding for a couple of minutes? I want to see this." I thought it was a space age movie or something. I put the phone down. Bad part, I didn't pick it up for 45 minutes, and he was holding. But this spaceship came down, and I saw those engines firing, and it looked like it was over, it was going to smash, and then I saw the fire pour out from the left side, and it put it straight, and it came down so gently, and then it wrapped those arms around it, and it held it, and just like you hold your baby at night, your little baby. And it was a beautiful thing to see, and I called Elon. I said, Elon, was that you? He said, yes, it was. I said, who else can do that? Can Russia do it? No. Can China do it? No. Can the United States do it other than you? No. Nobody can do that. I said, that's why I love you, Elon. That's great. And you know, when we had the tragic Hurricane Helene, and it hit North Carolina, they were really devastated. The water, this was a big water, as big as we've ever seen, water hurricane. It built
Look how
lakes
tall
out
Barron
of
is.
nothing. Fields became lakes, and the danger was unbelievable.
Definitely
And
got
the
some
people from
Nephilim
North
genes up in
Carolina
there,
came to me,
probably.
They said, would it be
I don't know.
possible at all?
I'm just
possible
kidding.
for you to
I have
speak
tall
to
friends
Elon
too,
Musk?
but
We need
it is,
Starlink.
you know,
I said, "What's
quite the
Starlink?"
sight to
It's
see
a
the
form of
change from
communications.
now
I
and
called
back in,
Elon.
you know,
And I'll tell you
2016,
what,
for
he
example.
and it was very dangerous. People would die. They had no communication. All the wires were down. I called Elon Musk. I said, Elon, you have something called Starlink. Is that right? Yes, I do. What the hell is it? He said, it's a communication system that's very good. I said, Elon, they need it really, really badly in North Carolina. Can you get it? He had that there so fast. It was incredible. So, and it was great. It saved a lot of lives. He saved a lot of lives. But he's a character. He's a special guy. He's a super genius. We have to protect our geniuses. We don't have that many of them. We have to protect our super geniuses. I want to thank some of the guys. You know, we have up here today the U.S. Open champion. He's a fantastic golfer, slightly longer than me. It's a ball, a little bit longer than me. Just a little bit. Bryson DeChambeau is up here someplace. What happened to Bryson? Where is he? Bryson. Oh.
Get out here, Bryson!
Holy shit.
Bryson! Okay, all right. So, some interesting hints being dropped in the conversations and the endorsement that Elon gave Trump, and now that Trump is heading towards the office, I wonder what, I don't know, what he's going to try to cook up with his new buddy. They also, here in this clip, call out Dana White on stage and you know, several other of the influential figures that helped make the campaign possible for Donald. But with that said, you know, there are some
President-elect.
interesting things.
Don't forget
Yeah,
president.
President-elect.
Very good.
Very good.
Yes.
So when we talk about the next cabinet member that is likely to enter in with Trump in January 20, we have RFK Jr. And check this out. Now, his statement on Twitter recently was, on January 20, the Trump White House will advise all U.S. water systems to remove fluoride from public water. Fluoride is an industrial waste associated with arthritis, bone fractures, bone cancer, IQ loss, neurodevelopmental disorders, and thyroid disease. President at the real Donald Trump and First Lady at Melania Trump want to make America healthy again. And so, of course, I support stuff like this, you know? So it's not all good or bad. It's crazy that the liberal left, who was once the party of alternative health and naturopathic things, would even think to support Kamala Harris, especially after seeing that RFK Jr., who was likely the best candidate for the left, teamed up with Donald Trump. And so in honor of that claim that RFK Jr. made, let's check out this video about how the truth was hidden in plain sight back in the 60s regarding this topic of fluoride and how it's about time these changes are made. Check this out.
Fluoridation of water. Have you ever heard of a thing called fluoridation? Fluoridation
All right, so that's just a little foreshadowing that backs up what RFK Jr. wants to do with the Trump White House. And we're going to end off with one last video here. Well, actually, I have two. And this next one, you're going to get a kick out of. It's it's what happened yesterday. So this next video you're about to see is Republicans this election on their way to the poll. Check it out. Run! Look at them. They're going to vote. The vote is happening. I mean, Donald has promised to release the UFO classified documents. He has promised to divulge the information and help Elon Musk get to Mars. So I just thought it was a great meme to show like how many Republicans and people voting for Donald Trump made it happen, Jeremiah. It happened. Oh, man. Run to the polls! To the polls! Oh, man. And you know, of course, you didn't see that with Kamala Harris's voters this election, apparently. But then again, she didn't have the dead voting for her, I guess it is. You know, like Joe Biden did in 2020.
Yep.
Okay, all right, so here's this last video, and this is going to be the left reacting after hearing that Donald Trump has won the election, and I think you guys are going to enjoy this one. So we'll wrap up our news segment this week with this.
Desk can now officially project that Donald Trump will become the 47th president of the United States.
Because I'm thinking about the people who are not a part of anybody's elite, who are hurting tonight. And there are African-American women who know a little bit about being talked down to, and know a little bit about having their economic dreams crushed, who tried to dream a big dream over the past couple of months. And tonight they're trading in a lot of hope for a lot of hurt. And they were hoping that maybe this time, one of their own could be seen as worthy. And once again, they're facing rejection. And that hurts. They thought tomorrow morning they're going to walk out with their shoulders back a little bit, maybe able to breathe for the first time and feel like they belong someplace. They did everything that they knew how to do. And it's going to be harder than it should be tomorrow for them to hold their heads up. And they're not the only people who are hurting tonight. If you're a parent of a trans kid, your child's face was used as a springboard to power for somebody. That doesn't feel good. There are going to be people tomorrow, we're going to be handing clothes at the dry cleaners to people who don't have papers. There are going to be people who are going to be cleaning your teeth tomorrow who don't have papers. And they're terrified tonight. And so it's easy to blow this off. Oh, look at the elites. They're going to get their comeuppance. It's not the elite that's going to pay the price. It's people who woke up this morning with a dream and are going to bed with a nightmare. And those people didn't deserve to be respected and held and talked to. Those are the people who are going to pay the price for whatever Donald Trump decides to do.
Yeah, but Van, how do we know that those people didn't vote? A large portion of those people aren't part of the people that elected Donald Trump.
Well,
right? I think that's a good part of the electorate. And the black women, the party, the Democratic Party, let those black women down. Not Donald Trump.
Van, what are your thoughts?
It's well, it's easier to be a parent this morning. It's easier to be a dad. It's easier to tell your kids character matters. It matters. Telling the truth matters. Being a good person matters.
Oh, boo-hoo.
And it's easier for a whole lot of people. If you're Muslim in this country, you don't have to worry if the president doesn't want you here. If you're an immigrant, you don't have to worry if the president's going to be happier to have babies snatched away or send dreamers back for no reason. This is vindication for a lot of people who have really suffered. You know, I can't breathe. You know, that wasn't just George Floyd. There was a lot of people that felt that they couldn't breathe. Every day you're waking up and you're getting these tweets and you just don't know, and you're going to the store and people who have been afraid to show their racism are getting nastier and nastier to you, and you're worried about your kids and you're worried about your sister. And can she just go to Walmart and get back into her car without somebody saying something to her? And you spent so much of your life energy just trying to hold it together. And this is a big deal for us just to be able to get some peace and have a chance for a reset. And the character of the country matters. And being a good man matters. You know, I just want my sons to look at this. Look at this. You know, it's easy to do it the cheap way and get away with stuff, but it comes back around. It comes back around, and this is a good day for this country. I'm sorry for the people who lost. For them, it's not a good day, but for a whole lot of people, it's a good day. Gloria? Even people who are pushing for this to happen, it's kind of like when your grandpa, you got to take the keys, and everybody, you got to take his keys, you got to take his keys, you got to. And he's fighting, and everybody's so frustrated. And then you finally get the keys back. And then you just cry. Because this is somebody that you love. This is somebody that you care about. This is somebody who was there for you. This is somebody, you wouldn't be here without him. And you had to take something from him. Now, this is not, look, this politics is politics. But this is a human moment for one of the great humans in America. This is a huge moment for him, for his family, for all of us who love him, for all of us who wanted him to get across the finish line. But if you're a young person watching this is leadership. This is patriotism. This is what it means to put the country first, and put the party first, and put the cause first. When your arm gets tired, you let somebody else finish pitching the game. That's what Joe Biden has done, and he's done that for all of us. And so I just want to say, I don't know who's going to be the VP, the non-VP. I don't know anything about politics. I just know that I love this man. I care about this man. It was painful every day to sit up here and talk about him like he's just some problem for the party. Wait till we get to the convention. You're going to see people crying, standing, screaming, cheering. He may not get a chance to talk for 10 minutes. We finally get a chance to put our arm around this guy. He did the right thing for this country. He did the right thing for this party. All of us are going to be in this situation someday, and I hope that we take a moment to honor this man and to love this man. I love Joe Biden. I appreciate what he's done, and a lot of people are heartbroken today. Even if it's the right thing, it's still just horrible.
It's a pure Project 2025 in miniature in Florida, and that kind of extreme, sort of extremist, right-wing, fascist type government in Florida, does that make it a more attractive place?
The House, we're not going to know for weeks, but it's possible that Donald Trump and the Republicans will have a trifecta, as they did in 2016. In which case, the bulwark, against whatever overreach there could be, and whatever those depredations might be, and I think they're going to have a tendency to overreach if they do, is the kind of thing that's democracy between elections, which is the work of civil society, it's the work of the Fourth Estate, it's the work of institutions, it's the work of citizens. All that's super important stuff. We've seen it before.
Nobody wanted Donald Trump to be president. Nobody wants Donald Trump to be president more than Bibi Netanyahu, who is backed by a far-right coalition that would like to clear-cut Gaza, that would, would truly like to complete ethnic cleansing of Gaza. And so the consequences, ironically, for those, Mark Lamont Hill, who's been a staunch supporter of the Palestinian rights movement, came out in favor of Harris as well. And so I think, we don't know that this would be the case, but I think that's one of the interesting questions, is that the outcome for people in Gaza and in Lebanon, if Trump were to become president, would be absolutely devastating. It would be everything Bibi Netanyahu has wanted to do for 30 years, not just in Gaza, but in the West Bank and in Lebanon. And so I think for people who care about that issue and who that was their voting issue, it would be highly ironic if the outcome, it was literally to make it far worse than the Biden administration.
The former president's comeback will be complete with a win in Wisconsin, a state that he narrowly lost 4 years ago. He is now the second president in U.S. history to win non-consecutive terms. The first was Grover Cleveland in the late 1800s. Senator J.D. Vance will become the 50th vice president of the United States. Voters expressed deep frustration with the Biden administration, and former President Trump and the future President Trump overperformed in urban areas, particularly with men, proving that the strategy that they doubled and tripled down on over the course of the last few months absolutely succeeded and brought him back to the White House.
All right. So, of course, now that we've won, now that the conservative Trump supporting right has secured the victory of the election, we cannot forget how things have been in terms of the censorship of information, the control of the media. And you hear it there that the Republican Party has won the holy trifecta of government power, the Senate, the Congress, and the presidency. So here's what we're going to see, Jeremiah. We're going to see who really is a mover and shaker that's actually going to implement changes to better our culture and our society and our government here in the U.S. And how many people were just doing lip service, whether they had the red color or not, right? So now that all of the control and there's no hindrance to pushing forward change regarding, all these things that they've been claiming, going to these different rallies. Let's see, now is the chance for them to actually make it happen, because they have complete, governmental grand old party control of the government currently. And so, we'll see what actually happens. But it's definitely, we'll interesting to experience, and it's really interesting to see. So what do you think, Jeremiah? Any thoughts before we move on?
No, I just think it's great that Trump won. I think it's going to be great. But thank you, Jake, for another great current news as always. And now for a quick look at the Babylon Rising bookstore.
Check out our new and improved BabylonRisingBooks.com, where you can get Rob Skiba's books, bundles, DVDs, DVD-ROMs, videos, and so much more. You can even get Sheila and Jeremiah's books, so check it out now.
It's about that time for an all-new Opas corner. Take it away, Opa.
Mein Hut, der hat 3 Ecken. 3 Ecken hat mein Hut. Und hat nicht 3 Ecken, dann ist es nicht mein Hut.
Port Arthur, Texas to El Paso, Texas is 889 miles. Port Arthur, Texas to Chicago, Illinois is only 770 miles. Brownsville, Texas to Texline, Texas, north of Amarillo, is 956 miles. Texline to Canada is only 960 miles. El Paso is closer to California than to Dallas. The world's first rodeo was in Pecos, Texas, July 4th, 1883. The flagship hotel in Galveston was the only hotel in North Texas built over water. Unfortunately, it was destroyed by Hurricane Ike in 2008 and sits abandoned. The Heisman Trophy was named after John William Heisman, who was the first full-time coach at Rice University in Houston, Texas. Brazoria County has more species of birds than any other area in North America. Aransas Wildlife Refuge is the winter home of North America's only remaining flock of whooping cranes. Jalapeno jelly originated in Lake Jackson in 1978.
We're sorry.
The worst national disaster in U.S. history was in 1900, caused by a hurricane in which over 8,000 lives were lost on Galveston Island. The first word spoken from the moon, July 20th, 1969, was Houston, but the Space Center was actually in Clear Lake City, Texas at the time. The King Ranch in South Texas is larger than Rhode Island. Tropical Storm Claudette brought a U.S. rainfall record of 43 inches in 24 hours in and around Alvin, Texas in July of 1997. Texas is the only state to enter the U.S. by treaty instead of by annexation, known as the Constitution of 1845 by the Republic of Texas. This allows the Texas flag to fly at the same height as the U.S. flag, and Texas may choose to divide into 5 states. A live oak tree near Fulton, Texas, is estimated to be 1,500 years old. Caddo Lake is the only natural lake in the state of Texas. Dr. Pepper was invented in Waco, Texas in 1885.
Me and Lindsay
and there is no period in Dr. Pepper. Texas has had 6 capital cities: Washington on the Brazos, Harrisburg, Galveston, Valesco, West Columbia, and now Austin, Texas. The Capitol Dome in Austin is the only dome in the U.S. which is taller than the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. by 7 feet. The San Jacinto Monument is the tallest freestanding monument in the world and is taller than the Washington Monument. The name Texas comes from the Hassini Indian word Tejas, meaning friends. Tejas is not Spanish for Texas. The state mascot is the armadillo. An interesting bit of trivia about the armadillo is that they always have 4 babies. They have 1 egg which splits into 4, and they either have 4 males or 4 females. The first domed stadium in the U.S. was the Astrodome in Houston, Texas. The Beck Family Ranch land grant is 1 day's ride by horse, 25 miles, in each direction from its headquarters. The name of the XIT Ranch in Dalhart, Texas, stands for 10 in Texas. That means 10 counties in Texas. Chemistry set.
Hey, Mom. Dad let me do an experiment on him, and it was a complete success.
That's nice, dear. Sorry, I had to do it to keep you from throwing a perfectly good stick away over and over. Changes in beavers' activities could indicate they are mimicking human behavior. Will need further study. Maybe it's just a phase she's going through. Since we've spent the last 2 weeks on just this one story, all our other stories have become irrelevant. Naturally, there was a bit of skepticism among the media regarding the official Air Force explanation. It's a weather balloon. I spy with my little eye.
That game got old 30 years ago.
Pizza. I told you I got us the best table in the house. My Amazon order is here. Artificial palm tree. Welcome to the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, we're changing it right now.
And pull up your cup sleeve, young man.
Little Red Riding Hood? Really? My agent said I was auditioning for the Three Little Pigs.
Sid never called attention to himself, except, of course, for just at the very end. R.I.P. Sid. Sid Felker is buried here. Sid's grave. Here lies Sid Felker. This is your wake-up call, but just FYI, another bird left an earlier call and got the worm. Don't you think stone tablets would have a little more authority than sticky notes? Early geography class. Tog, can you tell the class how many continents there are? More facts of nature. As part of nature's way to help spread the species throughout their ecological niche, bison often utilized a behavior naturalists have described as ballooning.
I know you're with the grammar police, but who's that guy?
He's the correction officer. Stuck in rough sketch phase. Please help me become a finished drawing. Yes, I said bring me the king, but not that king.
It's not right.
T-shirts for sale. 1 shekel. Cash only. I wandered the desert for 40 years and all I got was this lousy t-shirt. You look so much thinner.
Thanks. I had my appendix removed.
Can you believe I'm flying this sucker on my iPad? These commandments would have a better chance of being followed if each one had a link to an instructional video. Our valued passengers in first class may disembark at this time. Have a lovely day. The rest of you can get off now and hurry it up. We don't have all day. The attempt to answer the age-old question, why don't some sticks fit through doorways? I want to live forever. Poof. Twinkies. People knock on the door. I bark like crazy. Then they say the word treat, but they don't give me a treat. Halloween is so messed up. There is a reason for everything, except for barking. You can do that all day long for no reason at all. Railway map of Antarctica. Railway lines, stations. Started growing my own pot. Not sure if I'm doing it right. I hate this snow. No, wait. I love this snow. Signed, Bipolar Bear. And that concludes another Opas Corner. I'd like to make a couple of small corrections to the interesting facts in Texas. First is the hotel that was over the water. I said North Texas, the only hotel in North Texas, and actually it's the only hotel in North America that was built over water. I didn't read the script correctly. The other one was, unfortunately, I picked the wrong image for the Dr. Pepper, original Dr. Pepper, because if you'll notice, it does have a period after Doctor, but if you look at all the bottles and everything else, there is no period after DR. Okay, right, that's it.
All right, Opa, thank you for another great Opa's Corner, and this week's History's Mysteries is brought to you by Brighter Image Lab, so check this out. Unleash your confidence with Brighter Image Lab. Growing up, I was always self-conscious about my smile, especially the gap between my teeth. It didn't just impact my childhood, it followed me into adulthood, affecting my confidence every time I smiled. When I started Skiba News Nation, I knew it was time to make a change. That's when I discovered Brighter Image Lab, and they truly transformed my confidence and my smile. Their veneers gave me the confidence I had been missing for all those years, and I want to share the same feeling with all of you. I believe in their products so much that I reached out to partner with them after I got my first pair, so that you could experience the same life-changing results. If you've ever felt insecure about your smile, like I have, now's your moment. These veneers are a game changer, and you can get 20% off with my code SKIBA20 at checkout. Or you can click the link below and start your journey to a more confident you. So check out Brighter Image Lab today. Your perfect smile is just one click away. It's time for an all-new History's Mysteries. So today for History's Mysteries, we're going to be talking about the evil, dirty business of megachurches. And we talked about it a long time ago, but I think we're going to have a guest coming up here pretty soon that knows a lot about the dirty business of megachurches. So I just wanted to lay this groundwork. So check out this first clip.
Mega churches are a movement, a concept that has been getting bigger and bigger, and preachers aren't exactly trying to hide what it is that they really want.
You know, I've owned 3 different jets in my life, and I used them and just burning them up for the Lord Jesus Christ.
Televangelist Jesse Duplantis says God himself told him it's time for an upgrade.
He said, I want you to believe me for a Falcon 7X. So I said, okay.
The head of the World Changers megachurch in Atlanta asked for the donations in this almost 6-minute video, dubbed Project G650, as in Gulfstream 650.
There are around 1,750 megachurches in the United States. Some of them have gained a massive following. Gateway Church in Southlake, Texas, Life Church in Edmond, Oklahoma, Church of the Highlands in Birmingham, Alabama. I'm talking about churches that can fill an entire stadium. These megachurches are one thing, but there are also countless smaller churches whose ministers follow the teachings of megachurch pastors. And even if these ministers don't buy private jets and live in huge mansions, they're spreading the exact same message that these megachurches are doing, the prosperity gospel. This is Joel Osteen, and he's supposedly worth $100 million. He has a huge following, private jets, fancy cars, and lives in a $10.5 million mansion. His wife owns another $2.9 million mansion in Tanglewood, Houston. In 2017, Osteen received a ton of backlash for not opening Lakewood Church to house victims of Hurricane Harvey in Texas. After he finally let them in, he took up a collection. The thing is, Osteen is just one of many. They 100% know what they are doing. This is the dark side of megachurches. The rise of megachurches in the US, South Korea, Spain, and other countries has completely transformed the world of faith. They've expanded nationwide, becoming wealthy organizations that handle billions of dollars. Early Protestant religion led to the growing phenomenon of megachurches and the desire to construct larger places of worship. When World War II ended, many soldiers came home with deep emotional scars. Seeking solace and redemption, they sought refuge in churches and large gatherings. Megachurches brought forth a revolution in religious beliefs, creating a concept that would accommodate the masses. The Word of Faith, commonly known as the prosperity gospel. The Word of Faith movement began on the Pentecostal movement in the late 20th century. E.W. Kenyon, the founder, studied Phineas Quimby's metaphysical New Thought teaching. The combination of Pentecostalism and mind science created a unique blend of Orthodox Christianity and mysticism. Kenneth Hagin, a student of Kenyon, played a pivotal role in shaping the Word of Faith movement into what it is today. At the core of the Word of Faith movement is the concept of force of faith. It's believed that words have the ability to control the power of faith and help people manifest what it is that the scripture promises: wealth and health. The movement suggests that certain laws govern this force of faith, operating separately from God's ultimate control, implying that even God himself is bound by these laws. The idea is simple. God wants you to prosper through your health, finances, relationship, and love life. We are all little gods, and since we are made in the image of God, we possess a certain divinity in each and every one of us.
You are gods, little g. You are gods because you came from God.
And your DNA and Jesus' DNA are exact. You're exactly like that.
This gives us the power and potential to bring about the prosperity that we're supposed to have. Then comes tithing.
Tithing lays the foundation for financial success and abundance.
The main concept of a tithe is that you give a portion of your income to the church or for religious purposes. It's a way of giving your thanks to God for your life, finances. Most houses of worship rely on these donations to keep working, but tithing through the teaching of the prosperity gospel conveys a different concept as a form of investment. The concept of give to get a reward. Give one and you will receive even more. The prosperity teaching suggests that health and wealth blessings can be obtained through positive declarations of faith, and giving financial or material gifts is a great way to achieve that. All you have to do is sow a seed.
Sowing a seed, who use that idea as a means to persuade people to give a donation in order to secure a blessing of God. It might be for healing, it might be for something else, some other sort of blessing of this life.
Two things bring about the material or physical blessing: affirming faith and giving money or possessions. In this perspective, people believe that by giving material possessions, they can receive their blessings in return, especially in the form of financial or material abundance. The more money you donate, paired with strong faith, the more money you can expect to receive in return.
You and I select the standard that we're going to receive from God. The measure I give in life is the measure I'm going to receive in life.
Preachers of the prosperity gospel often request donations to their ministries, promising similar monetary returns.
As surely as I'm speaking by the Spirit of God, that is a word for a person right now. That is God penetrating your heart. It's burning on the inside of you, and you need to make a vow of faith of $1,000.
They add a spiritual veneer to their appeals by stating things like, God wants to grant you a miracle, and Jesus has power over your financial burdens.
So the love of money is the root of all evil, and they shouldn't be allowed to get away with this kind of stuff and, you know, taking advantage of people and their emotions. And I mean, they're no better than a fortune teller, in my opinion. Like, they tell you what you want to hear, and then they take advantage of people that are struggling. So let's kind of learn more about the history and learn a little bit more about these mega churches. So check this out.
The late Oral Roberts played a significant role in popularizing the idea of sowing a seed. He taught people to expect a miracle when they sow a seed from whatever they lacked in life. In his writings, he emphasized the importance of following the divine law of sowing and reaping to unlock one's potential, overcome challenges, and experience abundance in various aspects of life, such as health, prosperity, and spiritual renewal. Roberts urged individuals to sow the seed of God's promise into the soil of their needs. In the July 1980 edition of Abundant Life, he suggested that money needs could be resolved by sowing seeds. And how much money do you think these churches are making? I'm talking about large congregations. Mega churches have the capacity to generate more cash than you can possibly imagine. They have thousands, even tens of thousands, of weekly attendees and many active participants. Based on reports from the Hartford Institute of Religion Research, HIRR, a church is classified as a mega church when it consistently attracts a weekly average attendance of 2,000 people or over. The HIRR website indicates that there are approximately 1,650 Protestant megachurches in the United States. However, determining the exact earnings of these megachurches can be challenging, as they are not legally required to disclose their financial information to the government, as stated by the Internal Revenue Service, IRS. Compared to other churches, nonprofits, and church-affiliated organizations, megachurches don't have to file an annual information return to the IRS. Despite that, some churches are proud to flaunt their achievements. Life Church, located in Edmond, Oklahoma, and led by Craig Groeschel, received $143.4 million in both monetary and non-monetary contributions in 2018. The church also disclosed that it had a total asset value of $281 million. This megachurch has 37 physical campuses and church online and a weekly attendance of around 85,000 people. Remember Joel Osteen from earlier? His Lakewood Church in Houston, Texas, released a financial report for 2016 and 2017. The report revealed that the megachurch received a total of $78.7 million in contributions. After covering its budget of $90.6 million, Lakewood Church had $59 million in net assets by the end of the fiscal year. The church averages around 45,000 attendees a week. The Gateway Church in Southlake, Texas, led by Robert Morris, makes more than that. This church has the biggest attendance rate compared to any other megachurch in the region. Their average weekly attendance is 100,000 people. Based on recent reports, the church amasses a revenue of somewhere between $50 and $200 million. So where does this money go? Most of it goes to fund the preacher's lavish lifestyle. The wealth of these preachers is not met with criticism. They're seen as proof that these teachings work. This is a feature of the prosperity gospel. Take Kenneth Copeland, for example. He's been preaching for the last 40 years. Today, he is the richest pastor in the world. He lives on a $7 million tax-free estate, property that boasts garages, a boat dock with 3 ships, and a tennis court. His house overlooks Eagle Lake. He owns not one, but a fleet of private jets, including the one bought from Tyler Perry. Copeland's ministries revolve around the idea that God wants you to be financially successful. But I also wanted to dig a little deeper and find out how these megachurches are spending their money. I know that most of it goes to the lead pastor, but what happens to the rest of it? A study in 2014, published in News and Reporting, evaluated some of the income that goes to these churches. While not completely accurate, it is the largest and most comprehensive collection of data on church finances across different denominations. It stated what I already expected. Most of the money goes to the lead or senior pastor. The rest is divided based on the hierarchy of the church, just as it would be in any other workspace. This indicates that there's a huge network of people working to spread the message to as many followers as possible. When you have pastors thinking of themselves as CEOs, it's hard to tell the difference between a pastor and P. Diddy, said Jonathan Walton, assistant professor of religious studies at the University of California, Riverside, in an interview for CNN. That begs the question, should we tax megachurches? Some believe that taxing churches violates the U.S. Constitution, especially the First Amendment's protection of religious freedom. But there is no explicit provision exempting churches from taxes in the United States. While many churches struggle financially and rely on donations and fundraisers, megachurches generate significant revenue. If megachurches were taxed, the resulting tax revenue could be used for social programs, including housing and education. Supporters of megachurches argue that they already engage in charitable activities, which justifies their tax-exempt status. However, it can be unclear which specific charities they support, as they don't disclose their funding allocations. A 2016 study by the Leadership Network revealed that the charitable recipients and amounts given by megachurches remain unknown. The lack of transparency raises questions for worshipers, governments, and taxpayers about where the money is being directed. On another note, the manner in which sermons are delivered in megachurches has undergone a complete overhaul. Instead of traditional crosses, they're using plasma screen TVs and PowerPoint-style presentations for song lyrics and liturgical practices. This appeals to the younger followers. Megachurches are also offering online services. Before COVID, live stream worship wasn't that common, but after the pandemic hit, everything changed.
I've seen 3 of those people live, and I saw Benny Hinn, probably one of the most evil people in the world, in my opinion, live at the Astrodome. I've also seen Joel Osteen. I mean, they're all frauds. They're all evil, and they're all out to get money, and that is my opinion. I have to say that legally. But before I get your opinion, Jake and Opa, let's play this final clip of megachurches. So check this out.
In April 2020, roughly 97% of churches provided online worship services, and almost 50% of all Americans watched it, even those who never tried the church's in-person services before. This proved that adaptation and technological advances gave these churches the power to interact with a much wider audience. Although many people perceive megachurches as a gathering of white suburban Americans, the reality is that these churches have a very diverse following in terms of age, education, and income levels. Racial diversity can be found in nearly 30% of these mega churches across the nation, where at least 20% of the congregation comprises integrated ethnic groups. This diversity is truly mind-blowing. It shows that these churches have the possibility and potential to grow to an unprecedented scale. The guy in the wheelchair who got healed by Pastor Alf Lukwao was interviewed a couple of weeks later after the miraculous healing took place. He had restored his body and was now able to live a normal life. Over the years, we've also seen several pastors perform miracles in front of a massive audience. If these people really can't perform miracles, which I'm not saying they can't, but if they have the power to do these things to anyone, then why do they need the lights, cameras, and stadiums? Why can't they go to a hospital and do it there? Wouldn't everyone be cured? What is happening? This to me looks like the placebo effect. Studies on the placebo effect focus on the connection between the mind and body. A common theory suggests that the placebo effect happens because of our personal expectations. Here's how it works. If we expect a person, a pill, or a treatment to do something, then it's possible that our body's chemistry can trigger a similar effect to what we expect. For example, in one report, experts gave people a placebo but told them it was a stimulant. Their pulse rate increased, blood pressure rose, and reaction speeds went up. But when they were given the same pill but told it was for sleep, opposite effects were observed. Experts believe there's also a connection between how strongly we expect something to happen and whether we expect these results to occur. The more powerful the feeling, the bigger the odds of us experiencing these positive results. The fact that the placebo effect is tied to expectations doesn't make it unreal or fake. Some data shows that actual physical changes accompany the placebo effect, such as an increase in endorphins and natural pain relievers. And for a pastor to get a huge following, they need to go viral. Social media and TV presents a unique opportunity for pastors to create pieces of content that resonates with viewers. The goal is to remain relevant and attract the interest of millions of viewers of any age group. Pastors also possess a certain charisma, dynamic speaking capabilities, and a compelling presence. They know how to attract people and captivate the viewers. Their role is significant when it comes to communicating effectively, delivering relatable and inspiring sermons, and gaining popularity. Now, storytelling, humor, and relevant messages are not enough to connect to the interests of the masses. It's important to also articulate a clear vision and purpose. And what better way to do that than with a miracle or a compelling performance? Pastors who actively engage with their congregations and the wider community can cultivate popularity. Pastors who leverage various media platforms such as television, radio, podcasts, and social media can reach a broader audience and enhance their popularity. Through these channels, they can share their teachings, spread their message, and connect with individuals beyond the physical congregation. But which one of these is an actual miracle and which one is a spectacle?
Everyone pray in the Holy Ghost, come on!
Are people paid to act sick? Are we looking at a group of paid actors? Stage events are nothing new. They help create a sense of authenticity. By helping viewers genuinely experience a miraculous event, the preachers are more likely to strengthen the faith and belief of the audience. These miracles also create an emotional impact. Whether they've been staged or not, these events create an atmosphere of awe, wonder, and heightened spirituality. This can increase the perceived power and effectiveness of the preacher's message. Then, there is public perception and recognition. Every preacher wants to boast and maintain a good reputation. Conducting miracles on a wider scale can lead to greater social influence and financial benefits. Of course, many preachers, if not all, are driven by financial gain. Manipulating the audience through a staged event could encourage larger donations, offerings, and other forms of sales. To avoid this, many families go to smaller churches that teach against mega churches. It makes it easier for them to connect with other people. Plus, these pastors are not nearly making as much money as the leader of a mega church, which can be pretty comforting to see someone who understands the people's struggles. These smaller churches have a family feel. Pastors use this as an opportunity to help the attendees who come from a dysfunctional family unit. They have a simpler system and fewer departments, making it easier to resonate and communicate with attendees. Overall, mega churches are a booming business, and when there's money, interest, and a high attendance rate, businesses such as these will continue to flourish. Mega churches are a new spiritual and structural organization unlike any other. To truly grasp their dynamics, we need to view them as a collective social phenomenon, rather than isolated instances of extraordinary growth or spiritually successful entrepreneurial ventures. While there may be some variations, most megachurches follow a recognizable pattern and share common leadership and organizational dynamics. Most of the power lies in the pastor, who appears in many events, books, merchandise, and TV shows, but it also comes from members outside the megachurch who spread the same ideology. The emergence of numerous large churches in recent decades suggests that this new form of congregational life resonates with and aligns with changes in contemporary American society and culture. More importantly, this analysis provides a possible explanation for the symbolic significance of megachurches, both in the spiritual lives of their members and their relationship to modern society. From recent events, we've seen a lot of these preachers perform miracles and spread a particular agenda. Although we see them helping people, we also see them living a lavish lifestyle. So how can we be sure that the people they're helping are not paid actors? We just see these pastors filling their pockets with more and more money, while we still have sick people all around the world, widespread homelessness, and poverty. If these people have such power and influence, can't they lend a hand to those who really need it? The question is, how big can these megachurches actually get? What kind of influence can we expect in the near future? Now, I'm not saying that I like or don't like this kind of concept, but I am saying that this is something to think about.
Now, a lot of you guys like that I had a photo of Helen Keller, and I have a photo of Benny Hinn. It just so happens I didn't plan this, but I found this photo of Benny Hinn that I made, and it says "The Dark Lord of False Prophets," and it's him as his Darth Vader. I thought it was the funniest thing. It's just kind of ironic that I had that by me, but him and Kenneth Copeland. I mean, Kenneth Copeland is one of the creepiest looking guys I've ever seen in my life. Like, he just looks evil. Like, if I had to pick, if I was casting a movie and I said, okay, I need an evil person, and he auditioned, he would be the first person I would choose. And that's me being polite about it. But yeah, what are your thoughts, Jake?
Yeah, I think it's so messed up how people rise into those positions of public influence. And what it reminds me of is ancient Greece. They used to have these guys named sophists, and they would be these great orators, and they would draw these crowds to listen to them weave together words. And really, it's the modern iteration of professional speakers and people that can stir on a crowd. And of course, there's people that have take the modern guise of Christianity to kind of get into the in club of these churches, and then they use that as their platform to then draw resources. But people do this with all variety of topics. They do it with health and wellness. They do it with self-help. They do it with psychology. So it's really, I think it boils down to how they're actively deceiving people, or they're having people play along in this emotional frenzied state to where they're having manifestations of the supernatural, but it's really man-made manifestations. And the question is like, when we see these claims, these big claims of miracles and acts of the Spirit in these mega churches, how do we sift between the good and the bad, the things that are genuine miracles and could happen to people who have genuine faith in these megachurches, versus the things that are contrived, the things that are fake, and the things that are just justifying, whatever their particular blend of denominationalism is. So it's a tough thing, and it's really sad to see that's the state of Christianity. I mean, it's the blind leading the blind in a lot of ways, and man.
Well, I remember when I saw Benny Hinn. I don't know why we saw him several times, but I remember going with my mom and my dad, and we were both there. Or we were all there, and we were like in awe that all these people were like mesmerized by him, because they had this music that was like, kind of putting you in a trance, and it was very like culty. Like, it felt like a cult. It really did. It felt like a cult. And they were telling people that he could heal you. Benny Hinn could heal you of all your illnesses. And I was like, you're no better than a fortune teller. You're just telling people what they want to hear. I mean, and you're taking their money at the same time. We had to pay to get in there, and then they're still asking for money. It's just crazy. It's beyond crazy. Opa, what are your thoughts about it?
Well, I know just in this area where we live in Dallas, there are at least 3 big mega churches, and I remember, with you taking you to the one in Houston with Joel Osteen, and they all are massive productions. I mean, I was watching, and they had like the NFL, they had cameras on wires that would zoom across the audience. They would have camera wells on 2 sides and the back. They would have dancers. They would have really, really incredible videos that they would play in the back. They would have dancing, and it's just like a big Broadway production.
It's just a big show.
Yeah, just a huge show. And the people, all were in there, and they were just, really, spacing out. And then, of course, during that, they would pass the plate, and, it made you feel guilty if you didn't put any money in, because the other people would kind of look at you crazy,
Yeah, that's not what church is supposed to be, in my humble opinion. I don't think that. But you guys let me know at home what you guys think, and I will finish by saying this one thing. Dallas is the hub of mega churches. the #1 place that they have the most mega churches. But that's all I got for these mega churches. Jake?
One last thought for our audience who are interested in what you were presenting. Look up the book Pagan Christianity by George Barna. He's the guy who runs the largest Christian polling agency across, I guess, the Western world or whatever. It breaks down the history of the modern church, and you'll see a lot of reflections in the megachurch game with ancient Greece games of, you know, entertainment and Roman Colosseum type things. The word church actually ties back to the word cirque, which is circus, for lack of a better, you know, term. But anyways, I thought our audience would be interested if they're readers and they want to do a little bit further research on what real church looks like, you know, the days of the early apostles versus what we see now and we've kind of inherited through the kind of the evolution of the modern church experience.
Cool, man. Well, I got one more clip, and it's Please Excuse My Sense of Humor, Volume 4, I think. So check this out.
Hi, I'm Maurice. I'm an executive by day and a wild man by night.
Hi, my name's Monroe. You've probably already noticed that I have incredibly blue eyes.
Hi, my name is Phil. Most of my friends call me Big Phil.
Okay. I like to talk to people deep into the night.
Hi, I'm Fred. Hi, my name's Mike, and if you're sitting there watching this tape smoking your cigarette, well, hit the fast forward button, because I don't smoke and I don't like people who do smoke.
I'm not afraid to get sand on my tuxedo if you're not afraid to let the wind mess your hair up a little bit when I take the top down.
Perhaps even a nice bath with some champagne and candles.
Hi, Mom.
I do fashion photography. I took a sponge ball, was pulling him out of a little girl's ear.
Vivacious, foxy.
I'm looking for the goddess. Are you the goddess? Who is the goddess? The goddess is the woman, is a woman, is any woman, is all women.
A figure that is sexy, slim, tight, excellent legs.
I'm a 25-year subscriber to both Playboy and the New Yorker magazine. One of my favorite foods is pizza. And just sugar and spice and all those things that are nice.
This is a queer fat club.
I'm queer and fat.
Okay, thank you for joining. We're just introducing ourselves at the moment.
Okay.
Do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, Joe?
Yeah, my name's Joe. I go by he, they, and I identify as 275 pounds.
Okay.
I feel like Jay's kind of making fun of me, though. I know it's kind of a shock. I know. Kind of a new thing.
I'm just,
Do what?
I said I apologize.
Oh, no, you're good.
Are you comfortable leaving the group at the moment?
Why?
I'm not understanding why you're joining the group.
This is the queer and fat group now?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I came here for.
Okay. And you said you identify as fat?
Yeah.
Okay. This is just for fat-bodied people.
Yeah, I understand. I identify as a fat-bodied person.
I'm not understanding where you're coming from.
Are you guys comfortable with me here? I mean, I'm pretty chill on my end.
I'm not comfortable, no.
Can we take like a vote?
Area record, National Australian.
Can we pull up the Charlie cam real quick? Look how sad this is. He had to go to the vet. He's wearing this little orange thing around his instead of a comb, but poor little baby. He's still cute though. He said hello. Say hello. He said hello. All right, well, that's all I got for History's Mysteries. I hope you guys enjoyed, and you got some memes for me, Jake?
Yes, I do. First, what is Charlie wearing? Is that an orange or
Yeah,
a donut? Or?
Can we cut back? It's an orange. Even though cats can't have citrus, I thought it was interesting. I call him. He's now an orange fruit, like our other cat. Get it?
Wow.
Nah, I'm just calling my other cat gay.
He looks like one of those like guys from ancient court, you know, where they have that like ring around their neck, like a jester or something. You know?
Yeah. See, he's licking the orange right now. He's not able to get to the area that he's not supposed to get to, but he knows we're talking about him, so we should probably stop. But before we go to memes, let's play that JJ ad. Can we do that, Opa?
Finally here at a very special location. Skiba News Nation has had a long-time sponsor, and I'm happy to be here in person at JJ's. See me in the hip shop. What's up, bro?
Hey, welcome to Family Ties Apothecary. Started a brick and mortar. I do everything myself and grow all the hemp that I make in my rub, and from start to finish, farm to bottle.
Let's go get one of JJ's special drinks.
The best. Small batch kombucha, lemonade, or apple cider drinks that we mix with our CBD. We have water soluble drinks where you can have a drink and not have to have alcohol in it and have a good time.
Now guys, go visit JJ's shop if you're up here in Beaver Dam, Wisconsin.
Health advocacy line that have a specialist here at 920-219-9169. If you guys want to call, we can address your ailments and I can recommend things to help you out. And that would be great. Look forward to hearing from you guys.
I love his hoodie, allegedly. But yeah, you got some memes for me, Jake?
Yeah, we do. Let's
Meme
get
up?
into it.
Alrighty. Meme me up.
All right, let's see here. Oh yeah, I just wanted to share the interesting Twitter X post that Owen Benjamin made. He predicted Trump wins in 2024, and for a very strange reason. The 45th and 47th in Gematria is 9/11. And you may not believe it, but they do, right? 4 + 5, 4 + 7. There's no way they pass up that opportunity. The president is picking up the hat for the show in Monopoly.
Oh, you want to know something interesting about that? Trump said that he's going to release the 9/11 files. Do you know that?
That will be very, very interesting for sure.
Yeah, Fox News asked him about it, and I was like, whoa, that's crazy that they would even ask him that. But he was like, yeah, I'll do it.
I want to hear about World Trade Center Building 7.
Yep.
Okay, so Kim Kardashian this year dressed up as a alligator crocodile woman, covered in scales as an albino whatever. Well, it turns out that the Kardashians are a fictional extraterrestrial species in Star Trek.
Yep. Opa always told me that. The Kardashians.
The Kardashians. What can you tell us about this, Opa? What, you know, are the alien people, you know, coming to run our fashion shows, or what's going on?
Well, the Kardashians are actually the bad guys in Star Trek. They want to basically take over the human race and take over all the other races that are in their area, and they keep wanting to expand their area in the universe.
Sounds like AI.
It does. All right, here's another one. Please don't fly on November 6th. We need to keep seats open for all the celebrities who want to leave our country.
Yep. Fact check true.
Man. Fact checked true. All right. Cleaning up 4 years of crap, Donald Trump, the presidential dumpster cleaner. And the dumpster is our government's crazy politicians and inbred like FBI shenanigery. Take out the trash, Trump. Come on, you got to do it.
He's gonna come.
All right. I shared this last night. By the way, guys, make sure you catch our live stream, election night live stream. We talk about how, like, right at the same time they were doing nuclear tests, and we were talking about some of the things leading up to and the kind of the public persona that was leading up to the election, and just wanted to archive those moments. But it was a good conversation. But I shared this picture in that just in case the party of tolerance and acceptance loses. Isn't it interesting that they were boarding up in preparation for this election?
I wonder if if something's gonna happen there now, since they kind of set all that up.
We shall see. But I mean, hey man, I showed those clips of the reaction to Trump's victory and how emotional you can see they truly believe with their whole heart they're doing what's right. And man, it's just it's crazy to see that level of commitment to an ideological cause that's been skewed. And like, you're not helping women's rights, you're helping women kill other unborn women in their wombs by supporting this political party. You're helping transgenderism and like the castrating of children, and like, oh my gosh, man, like that's what you're emotional about? That's what you want to cry about on national TV? Goodness. A big modern holiday that me and my family don't participate in, but I thought this was a funny picture of oh man. So I haven't seen a man beat a woman this bad since the Olympics, Jeremiah.
That's funny. He couldn't beat Ray Gun.
Olympics.
Yeah.
Alrighty. The Trump train don't stop.
Never surrender.
Never surrender. And oh yeah, by the way, if you are cold, then they are cold. So bring them inside and warm them up. This is like a pro, deer meat, not vegetarian meme there. But yeah, man. You know what it is, man. Donald Trump is your president. Donald Trump, your president. Okay. So that's all the memes for this week, Jeremiah.
Sweet, man. All right, Jay, thank you for another great current news and memes as always. Opa, thank you for another great Opas Corner. And I hope you guys enjoyed today's History's Mystery segment and the episode as a whole. Stay awake, not woke, subscribe, and stay tuned. If you like what we do here on Skiba News Nation, please like and subscribe. And also share with others so we can grow the biggest truth-seeking community on the internet. Huge shout out to all of our Patreons out there. If you like bonus content, you want some extra Skiba News Nation stuff, please go to patreon.com/Skiba News Nation.
Son of the legendary Ross Jeremiah Skiba.
It's like they don't even want to wake up.